Hello, everybody. Um, I've been deep in thought today, and I wanted to share something with you. Um, I'm not going to go in detail in this video, but I just want to share with you some personal experience of mine. I grew up in a family that, well, let's just say is very, my parents were and are very, very religious, Christians, and that's what everything was centered around, and for them still is. And so it turned out that while I was homeschooled, and homeschooling can be good if you know what you're doing, and know how to educate your children in every single subject fully. But that education is not the only thing either. See, I was educated in, to a certain extent, writing and English was the main focus of my education. Arithmetic, I didn't get good enough teaching on that. I'm having to basically the basics, the basics that will get you by, that will say that you have a GED level of education, math as far as addition, multiplication, subtraction, division, doing percentages, and that kind of stuff. But any algebraic type stuff that you actually need to truly say you have had a high school education, as well as other things, exponents, things like that in math. Along with science was very basic, and it was from a creationist point of view. There's a lot missing in what I didn't learn. Art appreciation, I learned a lot of history. I actually educated myself much better than my parents educated me on for history. I educated myself on the true history of America, which is totally different than what they have in history books, unless you're looking at Howard Zinn's history book, the People's History. Now that is much more accurate rendition of history, but even that is missing some facts. Anyway, education aside, as far as typical education, I did not grow up having any kind of preparation for real life. Because I was basically isolated from the outside world. It was kind of like living in a little fairyland world, and it wasn't a fairyland world. There's a lot of emotional and mental abuse, as well as brainwashing and hypnosis. All of that put together made it so that when I got married and left my parents' home, it's hitting me this year, which last year was my first year of marriage. This year it's hitting me how little I know about the real life and the real world. And I'm just now discovering that. I know certain things. I mean, sure, I'm not ignorant as far as what's going on in the world and stuff like that, but facing day-to-day challenges, survival skills, relationship essentials, stuff like that, those things that make life truly rich and meaningful, I did not have at all. And I don't know if any of you watching this will be able to relate to this or not, anybody who's come from a religious background, a very staunch religious background of any kind, but it isolates you. And I want to encourage young parents. I'm a young parent myself, and my daughter is not going to be sheltered, which I wouldn't call myself sheltered. I would call myself have been brainwashed, and I'm having to be re-educated. My husband is wonderful. He is helping me learn what real life means. He's a wonderful teacher. He's a wonderful, wonderful man. I'm so glad for him. Excuse me. I'm trying to take care of my baby girl. Anyway, if it wasn't for him, I'd be having it way, way tougher. And, as it is, my husband is the first real friend I've ever had, that will stick by me even when I'm being a jerk, because I'm still learning what relationships mean. But, I myself have a genuine heart and love for truth and, all of that, but there's still so much lacking in me, and I hate to see it. Anyway, what I was about to say is, I want to encourage you young parents, do not brainwash your children and put them into this tiny little box so that they are totally, when it's their time to go out into the world, they have no idea and no way to be able to know how to function and survive and make relationships and stuff like that. And don't do that to your kids. I'm not gonna do that to mine. My husband and I are gonna give our children the survival skills they need, all of that, to be able to be responsible, independent individuals who can make decisions for themselves. And if they need to come to us for any advice, we'll just tell them, well, this is what happens with this decision, this is what happens with that decision. That's what you need to do for your children. And any of you parents out there who have grown children and they come to you telling you similar things to what I'm saying, I would respectfully say, maybe you need to apologize, because you did your children a disservice. I may be sounding very rude right now, but it's the truth. Think about that, please, I would ask. It does your children a disservice to put your children in a little box and prevent them from having the social skills, the survival skills, the things like that they need. And sure, my parents will probably say, but we took you to the nursing home to interact with the old people. We took you to little events and stuff like that. That's not enough. And half of the time spent was in Christian circles, and as well as my parents took me through a horrible cult for a while. Okay, I'll say it. From the time I was 11 to the time I was 17, they had us in the Mennonites. And the Mennonites, that's for a whole other video. That's the worst place you could ever go. Do not become a Mennonite. Ever. Do not become any kind of Anabaptist, as they call themselves. Do not become Amish. Do not become Mennonite. Do not become German Baptist Brethren. Don't become Brethren or Plymouth Brethren. They are bad news. Okay, folks? I speak from experience. 8 years should be long enough for me to tell you with an educated answer, no, you do not want to go into that. And that made things worse for me. So, in any case, I just wanted to share that with you all. And in the future videos, I will tell you more about my personal experiences. But for now, my message for today, my blurb for today is, do not put your children in a box and totally make it impossible for them to survive and make relationships when they go out into the world for themselves. From the time they're very young, give them the tools they need to be successful, independent individuals, whether they're boys or girls. Okay? Alrighty. Well, thanks for watching my video, and I hope you have a good day.